Looking good. Now, it's not only the bodywork that you need to keep nice and shiny and clean, it's also everything that goes on underneath the bonnet here that you need to look after. Now, many men are not very good at looking after their health. They tend not to be bothered by aches and pains that may indicate something is wrong. They try to ignore minor illnesses and ailments in the hope that they'll just go away. Customers here. Hello, Keith.
Morning, Ernie. How you doing?
Very well, thank you. Nearly done now. It's a little bit more polishing and we'll have it ready for you by tomorrow.
Smashing.
Now, you're the men's health coordinator, aren't you, for North East Lincolnshire?
Yeah, that's right. I work in specialist health promotion and I plan and support projects within the community that try and raise men's health awareness. We know that men don't live as long as women and we spend more time ill. We just don't go to the doctors as often as we should.
Right. Well, we took to the streets of North East Lincolnshire to find out what they thought about men's health issues.
Obviously, drinking too much, smoking too much and overweight.
A bad back. There you go. I have a bad back that just keeps coming back.
I smoke too much, drink too much.
There it is, but that's not helping, is it?
Cancer and things of heart disease, isn't it? So you look after yourself.
Prostate cancer, I suppose, is one.
Not very often, no.
I don't see any point in going to see him if I'm not ill.
I don't really go to doctors. I tend to just go on the internet and then find my own home remedies instead of go to the doctors.
Probably 6 months, every 6 months, yeah.
No, I don't go to doctors.
Hardly ever.
I do. I go when I need to, and that's it.
I have checkups every year.
No, not very often.
How can I put it? A man doesn't look after himself like a woman does.
Well, there seems to be a mixture of statements there, Keith. Some men do seem to look after themselves and some don't. Why do you think that is?
Well, you know, as boys, we're raised with the boys don't cry kind of attitude that's instilled in us, and we should take it like a man and we just soldier on. And what happens is that becomes so ingrained that as we grow into young men, we don't seek help. We don't ask for help as often as we should. We don't kind of go to doctors as often as we should. We just don't seek medical advice.
Now, that can't be good for us. What are the key problem areas for men's health?
If we have a look at our model man, or not so model man, and we'll go over some of those main issues.
Men need to change their attitudes towards their health. Lung cancer, heart disease, prostate cancer, kidney disease, erectile dysfunction, stress, stroke. 40% of men die prematurely for various health reasons, many of which can be avoided.
Geez, check out the spare tyre on that guy. Shouldn't we be keeping our spare tyre in the boot?
Absolutely, Ernie. It's not very good, is it? I mean, we know that men tend to think of body image and diet as a woman thing, and they tend not to worry. Like, some men actually get quite proud of their beer bellies, but the fact is, if we're adding inches to our bellies, we're taking years off our lives. Being overweight, getting obese, can lead to things like coronary heart disease, type 2 diabetes, strokes, various kind of cancers. It's not good at all.
Right. Well, we popped down to Freshney Place to catch a few men out shopping and to find out why they don't go to the doctors.
I don't like doctors. I don't like hospitals and doctors. I have a nervous affliction to them.
It's the bravado, isn't it? It's like, oh, I'm all right, I can get along with it. My dad's exactly like that.
I don't know, I suppose we just carry on. You know, it's old-fashioned, I suppose, isn't it?
Get dead anxious when I'm in the doctors.
I don't really know why they don't go. It's perhaps they don't want to know what's wrong with them.
The old scenario in that lab that a man doesn't like talking to a woman.
Pride, probably. Men would probably just rather ride it out rather than go to the doctors.
I mean, it's like, you man bitch. It's not something you do, is it? Women check themselves close down. It's one of those things.
I've got something wrong, so like, for our region, they'd rather show a woman than a bloke. Get the drift.
Fear of hospitals, doctors, all that sort of stuff.
Some of the ailments that men get, they're probably embarrassed by them.
If you haven't got an appointment for a week, maybe 2 weeks, then you've got to wait and you've got time and think, well, it's maybe getting a bit better or whatever.
Blokes aren't quite as sensitive as women. We tend to avoid confronting issues, don't we?
I must admit it's my wife who's pushed me to go.
So we see from the video clip there, Ernie, that men tend not to go to doctors as often as they ought to. Now, we know that in the health services, female visits 3 times as many times as a man does. so men are just not going to the doctors. There are all kind of reasons for that. Appointment times are not always appropriate for men because they're out there working, and for some men, if they're not at work, they're not getting paid, so they're not likely to go to that appointment. Men don't wait very well either. They don't like waiting around to get into a doctor, and the actual asking for help bit is sometimes quite a struggle for some men.
Yeah, but Keith, you know, some men do look after themselves. Some men do things to help their bodies, but don't you think that it's the wives and the girlfriends who are standing behind them that do all the nagging?
That is true to some extent, Ernie, but we must think about the single men, the men that are not with female partners. Who's taking care of them? It's those men that need to take responsibility for themselves. They need to ask for help when they need it. They need to go to the doctors at the first sign that there's something wrong.
We went down to the hairdressers to ask the ladies why men don't go to the doctors.
Thanks, Ernie. Now, us ladies like a little bit of pampering from time to time. But what really frustrates us is that our men don't look after themselves. Why don't men visit the doctors?
They like to think that they're fit and healthy. Men want to be strong and silent, I think.
They're afraid of being told they're ill.
It's a macho thing, or maybe macho is not the correct word.
Do you force your partner to go to the doctors?
Yes, I have, yeah, because he's an epileptic and he stopped taking his medication. He had an epileptic fit.
He had a persistent cough and he kept saying, oh no, I don't need to go to the doctor.
He had a really bad back, but he wouldn't admit that it was getting him down.
He's self-employed and he won't take an hour off or anything. It's all his business.
Why don't men take their health seriously?
They want to bury their head in the sand and not know what's wrong with them, really.
They're stubborn. They're set in their ways.
I think it's to do with pride. Women don't care if they've got, like, the flu.
They just like to think that they're healthy.
What would change men's attitudes towards health?
I think it'd be a good idea to do something with shock tactic.
Like we have the smear test. I think there should be a national screening for men as well.
More awareness, because there's a lot of awareness for women.
Well, you've got to change men's attitude towards it, and I haven't really an idea of how you would do that.
So, after looking at that video, Keith, it does seem as though it's the women that influence the men to go to the doctors.
And again, Ernie, to some extent that would be true. What we see happening in our research is that boys go to the doctors with their mothers, and they disappear off the health radar for quite a long time until they settle down in their relationships and the wives are likely to nag them because they get fed up with the man moaning about the symptoms before the man gets fed up with the symptoms.
Right, well, thank you very much for your time today, Keith. It's very good of you to come along.
Pleasure, Ernie.
I'll have this done in a few days for you, mate.
Excellent. I'll come
give
back
you
and
a
pick it
ring
up
as soon
another
as it's
time.
ready.
Cheers, Ernie.
Thank you very much, Keith. Goodbye, mate. So, thanks very much to Keith there for giving us a bit of advice about men's health. Let's have a look now at Ernie's pit stop health tips with my assistant, Penny.
Sometimes we just keep cramming it all in. We just don't know when we're full. Until something gives. Carrying too much weight can increase the risks of cancer, high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, and take years off your life. Eat well, move more, live longer. Because men's health matters.
We'll see you next time in Ernie's Pit Stop with some more top tips to help you jumpstart your health. Bye.